ER's first sit-down with wealthy Jamaican entrepreneur Trisha Bailey was last November. That interview went viral as she recounted her rags to riches story, from student athlete to business mogul, making her money in stocks, medical supplies and real estate, with a net worth of more than $500 million. This time, Bailey inviting us to her sprawling horse ranch in Orlando, Florida, for a party, part book launch, part birthday bash, just in advance of the actual August 2 date. Fun. Many present to have their copies of Bailey's promised tell-all life story Unbroken signed by the author. Cooling down, a priority in the humid evening heat of Florida. They'd been told she'd arrive by helicopter, and she did. Making her entrance on the arm of her partner Tori. All very Caribbean bling.
Dr. Trisha Bailey, so proud of you. You're an example of a woman.
Happy birthday to Trisha Bailey.
No airs and graces about Bailey, who's also been known to bust a move.
We got Jamaica in the house!
And keeps it real about her humble origins in rural St. Elizabeth. Some of the grimier details saved for Unbroken.
I never thought there has been a moment in my life that I would be here. They say dreams so big that not even you believe that those dreams can come true.
Trisha Bailey dreaming really big and taking some hard knocks along the way.
A lot of hurt and pain from not being safe at home and not being safe in the world. It'll also talk about every methodology I've used to become a billionaire, every methodology I've used to build my empire, how I've remained disciplined, structured financial literacy, and how they can also use those same methodologies to become a billionaire in the space in which I'm in now.
But it's also a story of personal tragedy, which wasn't so tragic in the end because there was a happy outcome. Your daughter, at 15, had cancer.
She had thyroid cancer. My firstborn, my baby, my Natalia. There's no way that God would deal me this blow. I've had enough blows already. That's what I felt in the moment. And then I had to make the decision, go ahead and take out both thyroid glands, the left and the right. And I got on my knees. And I prayed, and my family prayed. And I can happily say, today she has been cancer-free for 6 years.
Your story is pretty familiar. Started out with very little, but you seem to have beaten the odds. How?
Track, as you know, was my big start. That's where I started. That's where I got my scholarship to University of Connecticut. And when you get into blocks in track, you have your head down. And you keep it down for a while until you're in full sprint. And when you're in full sprint, you just blow. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't venture out. I didn't party much. I was disciplined with my money. I learned financial literacy so that I can invest and engage and continue building that wealth. And that's why I'm here. And I rely on God.
So I'm going to mix it up a bit. The US economy appears to be buoyant right now. Are you registering that in your bottom line?
Well, of course. In the US, you have so many various opportunities. You can invest in so many different things as long as you know what you're doing. I don't invest in things I don't know anything about. I think that has always been my number one rule. If someone comes to me and they're talking about restaurants and kitchens, I know nothing about restaurants or kitchen. I choose to always invest in areas. For example, real estate. Real estate is a huge part of my portfolio. I know real estate. I know it in and I know it out. I know the stock market because that's my background. So I invest in those things. And I invest in people because I believe that loving, caring, and being kind to people is what life is really truly about.
You're an unusual, interesting person for a lot of people. They're very curious about you. What really is the thing that would possibly satisfy their curiosity?
Being kind makes me tick. Being kind, literally, that's it, being kind. If I engage with someone who's kind, it touches my heart. It touches my soul. I can be kind by saying no. I can be kind by giving you a critique. I can be kind by giving you some resources or a hand to help you get to the next stage. But being kind is essentially who I am, and that's what I will always be.
You talk about being raw in the book and spilling the beans and putting it out there. Does the book really tell your story, unvarnished, the Trisha Bailey that nobody would have heard of thus far?
I was laying in my bed the other night, and I was talking to two of my best friends. And I said, can you believe I told them all of this? Because it is as raw as you get. There's no book out there like mine.
It's going to shock people.
Beyond shock. The first chapter shock you. The second chapter shock you some more.
Shock me now.
Being beaten. Being abused at home. Choosing the wrong men. Choosing the men who have their hands out and will only take advantage of you. Choosing to work for a company that doesn't value you. I relied on my trauma to make my decisions, not knowing that the trauma was making the decisions for me. So what I was seeking all the time, I wanted love. I wanted to just be loved. That's it. I wanted to be loved because I want to give love.
What is it about Jamaica, though, where it's the same story? Women are beaten, they're abused, there is molestation. Why is it a part of our DNA, and how do we break that vicious circle?
We break it by talking about it. That's the reason why I'm talking about it. We break it by being raw, by being open. Because what happened, a lot of times we're sitting next to each other and we've gone through the same hell, that we could support each other. We can encourage each other. We can take each other out of the hell that we're going through, but we don't talk about it because it's tabooed. Because in some cases, the bad men, they scare us women. The good ones usually are taken, and the single woman, we can't necessarily find them. And especially with molestation, it is far too common.
So at what age were you molested?
You have to read the book to find that out, if I was molested or not.
How does Jamaica look to you right now, business-wise, and its direction?
Jamaica is my country, my love, my heart, my soul.
I know, but you have to be tough sometimes because people need to wake up.
Yes, yes. There are lots of business opportunities in Jamaica. The unfortunate part of some of the business opportunities, what we need to do in Jamaica is to bring the resources so that we can create jobs. We bring the resources so that we can create opportunities, so that 85% of college graduates does not leave Jamaica and go elsewhere. And this will change the trajectory of where we are in Jamaica. The Jamaicans investing in Jamaica, not the foreigners coming in and doing what foreigners do, but Jamaicans investing in Jamaica.
Do you or would you contribute money to the government and or to the opposition in Jamaica in terms of an election cycle?
I contribute money to humanitarian things. So if they're politicians and whatever, regardless of the side.
You don't give money to politicians?
I give money to humanitarian efforts.
Any advice for Andrew Holness?
I don't have any advice for Andrew at the moment. I don't. I would like to stay independent because I'm a humanitarian and I'm about the people.
So no Trisha tips for Mark Golding either?
No Trisha tips for Mark Golden. What I would like to see happen in the country among all the politicians and among all the powerful people that are in our country is a change in our healthcare system so that people like myself who want to come back and live in Jamaica, so that someone like myself, will bring jobs and resources. And I do that now, even though I don't necessarily live there. I want other people like myself to be able to empower the people, to uplift them, to build the education system so that every person whether they are the poorest, coming from where I came from with nothing, or the wealthiest, can be benefited from the system that we have. That's what I want.
Trisha Bailey, a very cool lady. Her interview, more than worth the part 2, we'll carry next week.